opposition.
This from the guy that robbed a record amount of Canadian workers' paychecks when he imposed the highest inflation in 40 years on them. And there was no negotiation for workers. In fact, they all took an across-the-board pay cut without ever giving their permission. And now, the position of his government is that they should have their pay capped. The governor of the Bank of Canada told CEOs that there should be no pay hike for Canadian workers to compensate them for this Prime Minister's inflation. Does he agree with the governor of the Bank of Canada that workers don't deserve a pay hike? Yes or no?
The right honourable Prime Minister.
He's actually trying to pretend he's standing up for workers right now when he is refusing to condemn a suspension of their most fundamental rights to collective bargaining. Mr. Speaker, workers' ability to negotiate a better future for themselves and their families is core to this country's middle-class success. Why is he not condemning this attack on fundamental rights and freedoms of workers?
I see the emotions are running a little bit high, so I'm going to ask everybody to take a deep breath. Everybody look at me and take a deep breath. All together now. Okay, now we're going to calm down. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
I am condemning the attack this Prime Minister has undertaken on Canadian workers by giving them the highest inflation in 40 years, eating up their paychecks so that they cannot afford food. It is this Prime Minister who has sent 1.5 million Canadians to the food bank in the month of March. This Prime Minister who's given them record credit card debt. This Prime Minister who has forced 1 in 5 of them to skip meals because they can't afford to eat. And now his Governor of the Bank of Canada says that those workers don't deserve a raise. I condemn those comments. Will he?
Hear, hear, hear. Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, one of the most fundamental rights available to workers is to negotiate their pay and their working conditions.
Are you done, I guess, is the question. The Right Honourable Prime Minister, from the beginning, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. One of the most fundamental rights available to workers in this country is the ability to fight for better rights, better opportunities, better pay, better working conditions. And that happens at the bargaining table, Mr. Speaker. What has happened is they have been stripped of that right to bargain, to negotiate, to talk about a better future for themselves and their families by the preemptive use of a measure designed to suspend and override their fundamental rights and freedoms. But the Leader of the Opposition has refused 6 times to condemn that in this House.
Well, member for Burnaby South.
Canadian families are struggling with the rising cost of energy, whether it's putting gas in their cars or paying for their home heating. All the while, these oil and gas companies are raking in record profits, something the Biden administration is referring to as war profiteering, and frankly, it is. What's this Liberal government's response? To put even more public money in the pockets of these highly profitable companies. When will the Prime Minister take a stand and protect workers and make these wealthy companies pay what they owe on their windfall profits and invest that into helping Canadians pay their energy bills?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, with putting a price on pollution right across the country that puts more money in the pockets of families in jurisdictions where it applies, we're actually sending clear price signals to industry and to private sector that they have to invest more in decarbonization. This is something that we're focusing on ensuring that these record profits from the oil and gas industry go into investing in decarbonization, go into CCUS technology to decarbonize, invest in better opportunities and jobs for the future while we fight climate change across the country.
For Burnaby South.
In the last election, this Prime Minister made some really big promises on health care. Made big promises to improve long-term care. He made big promises on mental health care. But he's completely missing in action when it comes to the premiers of this country requesting a meeting on dealing with the healthcare crisis. When will the Prime Minister actually respond to the crisis that we're dealing with and deliver on the promises that he made?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we heard clearly from Canadians from coast to coast to coast that they want access to family doctors. We heard clearly from families from coast to coast to coast that they need to see an end to the backlog, that they need better help for access to mental health services. These are things that we're busy working with the provinces on, and we're going to be delivering, yes, with more funds, but also with clearer outcomes for Canadians. Canadians deserve a healthcare system that actually delivers for them. We know, as the head of the CMA has said, that you can't just put money into a broken system. You need to fix the system. That's what we're doing.